Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to explain this very slowly so that even wonderful Democrats, liberals, and even some progressives who feel that President Trump is the epitome of militancy will understand. This is a very, very simple concept to grasp. The United States of America should withdraw all Americans and the entire presence that President Obama left in 2016, which was an enormous presence. It wasn't just 5,000 Americans, or no, close to 5,000 to 6,000 Americans in Iraq. Okay, so close to 5,000, then it went up in Iraq, and then around 10,000, 9 to 10,000 in Afghanistan. It wasn't just those troop numbers. It wasn't just the American soldiers. It was an American presence in Iraq that also included contractors. So what President Obama was able to do from a public relations sense is he was able to say, well, look, I've reduced the American footprint. No, he didn't. So the Iraqi Parliament just voted to expel U.S. soldiers from Iraq. Good. They're a sovereign country, aren't they? They can... it was a resolution. So the Green New Deal resolution, so that didn't mean anything? Yeah, of course it didn't mean anything. This is a little bit different. This is a resolution also, but guess what? They actually don't want us there anymore. President Obama lied numerous times about a lot of things. Media gave him a free pass. But the reality is that he didn't reduce American presence. If you look, contractor support of U.S. operations, okay, this is from the Department of Defense. Background. This report updates Department of Defense contractor personnel numbers in theater and outlines Department of Defense efforts to improve management of contractors accompanying U.S. forces. It covers Department of Defense contractor personnel deployed in Operation Freedom's Sentinel and Operation Inherent Resolve, and U.S. CENTCOM area and the U.S. Central Command Area of Responsibility, AOR. Okay. Now, you can look at the number of people, and it's within this article, this foreign policy article, mercenaries are the silent majority of Obama's military. The president's light footprint approach to wars relied on thousands of Americans paid to fight and lose their lives in the shadows. This is by Mika Zenko, May 18th, 2016. What you heard about President Obama, whether it's from Democrats or liberals, is almost certainly entirely wrong. He was far more militant than President Trump, either overtly or in a surreptitious manner, using contractors to do the same things in many cases as American soldiers. So you can look. President Trump is eventually going to remove the presence not only of American soldiers, which first and foremost we have to bring home. This is going to be a new concept for Democrats and liberals and many progressives who think of Trump as this authoritarian and despot. American soldiers, men and women, must be brought home from these never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. President Obama did not end the war in Iraq. He did not end the war in Afghanistan. It is still ongoing. We have he left Iraq with over 5,000 Americans and Afghanistan with over 9 to 10,000 Americans. But here's where I explain the title. Okay, this is very simple, and this has everything to do with the Iraqi Parliament's resolution. They want Americans expelled, but they also want the contractors out also. Now, a contractor lost his life. Okay, notice how in a recent attack that was funded by the same people that Democrats are saying, "Oh no, don't escalate tensions." You know what the best way to not escalate tensions? completely withdraw. Completely withdraw. And if they say, well, from the geopolitical consequences, it's gonna be Iraq is gonna be an Iranian satellite. Iraq is a sovereign country, isn't it? Wait a second. You're gonna now focus on that? No. They decide their future. It's been 20 years. We've given them everything they need from a military perspective. It is now their future. It's their culture. It's their society. But here, contractor support of U.S. operations, U.S. CENTCOM area of responsibility. A total of 44,983 Department of Defense contractor personnel in theaters of operations pertaining to Afghanistan and Iraq. A total of 44,983. Okay. People that are personnel and in some way contracted by the United States military, or the United States government, I should say. All right. President Obama did not leave 5,000 Americans, and that's it. The footprint he did not leave to 5,000 to 6,000 Americans. That footprint was closer to 50,000 people working on behalf of the United States of America. It's right here. Now, you can look at this article by Mika Zenko, Mercenaries of the Silent Majority of Obama's Military. And you can look. You go on. It goes on to talk about the size and the scope of all of, and you've had a couple journalists at the forefront of how these contractors, a lot of times the contractors, sometimes I should say, engage in really horrendous behavior, certain contractors over the years. Okay, there's been a couple journalists who brought that up. But the American presence under President Obama, if you look at the article that links to, so it's Mercenaries of the Silent Majority of Obama's Military. And then you click on the link where Obama has authorized the continuation or reemergence of two of the most contractor-dependent wars in U.S. history. As noted previously, there are roughly 3 contractors for every U.S. troop in Afghanistan. So 28,626 contractors in Afghanistan. In Iraq today, there are 7,773 contractors support. At that point, over 4,000 troops, U.S. troops, but that increased. These numbers do not include contractors supporting intelligence agencies. So, total, when you click on the link, it goes to the Department of Defense. The total in Iraq and Afghanistan and other U.S. CENTCOM locations is 44,983. Okay, so 45,000 plus the 5,000 Americans. So around 45,000 individuals, human beings, helping the 5,000 Americans in uniform. Okay, the contractors are not in uniform, but they're working for oftentimes, they're getting paid by the American government. Okay? They get their check from taxpayer money. So, President Obama left 50,000 Americans or contractors paid by the United States government. 50,000. 50,000 in Iraq and Afghanistan. Okay? That's not withdrawing. That's not ending any wars. That's not withdrawing American presence. What you heard about the Wikipedia site where it's like, oh yeah, President Obama ended in 2011, 2010. No, that's not true. Now, President Trump is going to bring home Americans. He now has to. He now has to. It doesn't matter what he tweeted. It doesn't matter what he's not going to go after cultural sites. He's not going to do any of this. Okay, Iran does not want. This is hilarious. This is kind of hilarious. At first they're like, well, when there was the nuclear deal with Iran, none of this stuff happened. Oh, okay. So you expect the same country that engaged in events that including the embassy, storming the embassy in Iraq, and then other illegal activities that took place regarding other countries as well, numerous other countries. You trust that country not to abide by President Obama's deal. The same country that when Trump pulls out, they then act in the following manner. How does that work? So it's like you're going and you're saying we have to trust these people or this country because they're trustworthy. Then when you say no, we're just going to pull out and we'll renegotiate, then they engage in behavior that proves that the government there is not trustworthy. But see, this is too much for Democrats to comprehend. They would much rather say that, well, there has to be a responsible withdrawal, which means we stay there indefinitely, forever. Here's President Obama, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, who left Iraq, Afghanistan in 2016 with 50,000 contractors paid by the American government and a total of 14 to 15,000 American soldiers that included in that 50,000 total. So hold on. Here's President. So he left 44,000. So wait a second. So he left 55. So he left around 10,000, around 9,000 American soldiers in Afghanistan, and 5,000 in Iraq. So he left around 55,000 total, including, so there's 45,000 contractors plus 15,000 American soldiers. So 60,000. Close to 60,000. Either American soldiers or contractors. Either way, the American presence was about 60,000 individuals. But let's listen to President Obama in 2008. This is by TPM. This is on the TPM website. Very hardcore Democratic Party publication. Check it out.
George Bush and John McCain don't have a strategy for success in Iraq. They have...
Mind you, this is 2008, okay? And he left Iraq and Afghanistan. He gave to Trump 45,000 contractors and then a total of 14,000 to 15,000 American soldiers in both countries. Okay? But this is President Obama in 2008.
Have a strategy for staying in Iraq. They say we couldn't leave when violence was up, and they now say that we can't leave when violence is down. They refuse to press the Iraqis to make tough choices, and they label any timetable to redeploy our troops surrender, even though we would be turning Iraq over to a sovereign Iraqi government.
Wait a second, aren't we turning Iraq over to a sovereign Iraqi government? Okay, so what's the problem now? The parliament has stated they want us out. What's the problem? So Democrats are like, he's escalating tensions. He's escalating tensions. Well, get out. No problem. What's the problem? He's escalating tensions. You don't want to bring... Notice that they'll say anything possible. They will not say bring Americans home. It's not something that Democrats will ever say. It's too blasphemous for them. I don't know why, but they will never say bring American soldiers home. Never. They will never bring that into the equation.
not to a terrorist enemy. Theirs is an endless focus on tactics inside Iraq, with no consideration of our strategy to face threats beyond Iraq's borders.
So we can go on forever. We can go on forever. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that there are 60,000. So you have President Obama left around 15,000 Americans in uniform in both countries. That's in addition to 45,000 contractors. That's a total of around 60,000 individuals, Americans and contractors, that President Trump is now going to remove. That's not hyperbole, because the contractors are there because we have, 15,000 uniform soldiers, and President Obama embedded American troops alongside Iraqi troops, and the same thing with Afghanistan. So then you get, I love this, the PolitiFact, they give President Obama a compromise. So a compromise, not false. Begin removing combat brigades from Iraq. Well, no, because we've embedded soldiers in. Our soldiers have now been helping. There's still about 5,000 soldiers in Iraq. Hundreds of U.S. troops have been advised and assisted Iraq. Okay, that's far less than the number in Iraq at the beginning of the Obama presidency, but it's not a full withdrawal. We rate this a compromise. Why can't you just rate it, PolitiFact, a lie? Oh, that's right, because it's PolitiFact. Why would they want to rate something that President Obama promised that didn't happen a lie? Why would they do that? Give me your thoughts below. This is a very important concept. The American presence in Iraq and Afghanistan are 60,000 soldiers or American contractors. 60,000. And they're being paid by American taxpayer money. And the parliament there wants us all out. So Democrats should probably not focus on the escalation of tensions and simply just say, bring Americans home and also bring the contractors that are there. Or remove them and bring them home too. Give me your thoughts below. Now, not all the contractors are American, but you could say bring them home to wherever they reside. Because the American presence in both countries is 60,000 individuals. Probably a lot more than that. That's probably a conservative estimate. Because then they talk about advisors and they talk about a whole lot of other things. Give me your thoughts below. President Trump is reversing this. They don't get it. They're like, oh my God, he wants it. We're not going to have a war with Iran. It's not going to happen. There's no territory to take. What are we going to... There's no... The two countries border one another. How would you even fight this military conflict? You wouldn't. The issue is... We can go on forever. Give me your thoughts below. The escalation of tensions is only a possibility because we're there. We remove our presence, including the contractors, which are an extension of the military, which basically direct extension of the military, because President Obama was all public relations. Then there is no problem. Then they say, well, it'll become Iranian satellite, and this group will take over. It's like, no. We're spending billions and trillions anyway. You give the billions and trillions there. If the Iraqi government wants to become an Iranian satellite, that's their decision. Okay? You can't say that Trump is an authoritarian, while at the same time trying to formulate Iraqi foreign policy for their own government. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. Give me your thoughts below. What took place with the general and the drone is precipitating. The unintended consequence of this is a full American withdrawal from not only Iraq, from Afghanistan also. And so when people were like, AJ still think that Trump is an anti-war president? Yeah. And not only that, he's going to withdraw Americans and the contractors and our presence in a way that President Obama promised but didn't do. So he's basically cleaning up the mess of Bush, the mess created by Bush and continued by President Obama. Give me your thoughts below. I know if Democrats listen to this, it's probably too much for them to comprehend. Maybe if they play it slowly, they can understand it. Give me your thoughts. Thank you.